Okay, call this meeting back to order at 8:02. First item on the agenda, or next item on the agenda, the minutes of the previous meeting back on Monday, December the 16th. I hear a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moving to second to approve the minutes of the December 16th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Discussion or action items. Consideration of possible action on board resolution regarding the review of the investment program. Ms. Moraz.
Not really anything different from other years. I removed Fidelity and Charles Schwab. We have closed our accounts with them. And
Those are on some like long-term CDs, right?
yes, closed fiscal year before last. And then y'all can see the numbers in the far right column on the interest that we've received. A little over $1 million last calendar year for the bond funds, and then over $500,000 in the general fund. So I feel at $1.7 million in interest last year, I think we're doing pretty well. It helps out.
I would just like to take a second to compliment Ms. Moraz on how she monitors those investments and reinvests and keeps them running, and I think does a really good job at maximizing our returns.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moraz.
Thank you.
Any questions? Chair would entertain a motion to accept the investment program.
Motion.
Move to second to accept the, we call it resolution, board resolution regarding review of investment program. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Consideration of possible action on request for approval of adjunct faculty agreement with Perryton ISD for Scott Strawn.
Okay, you guys are well aware of this arrangement. Every year we make an arrangement with our local county extension agent so that making him adjunct faculty so that we can count kids present as we're allowed to do by the state when they're going to stock shows and attending some ag related events. So it's a normal thing. We do it every year. And so I would submit to y'all for a vote.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve Scott Strawn as an adjunct faculty member. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Consideration of possible action on the targeted improvement plan that we've talked about earlier.
I'm not going to rehash the details of it. You guys know this is mainly a compliance. We just need to have you approve. Part of the compliance is that you approve the targeted improvement plan for the junior high. Just want to reiterate, this is the last year of that grant. This is to make sure we're compliant with that grant, and we shouldn't have to have this next year for the junior high.
Is there a motion?
Targeted improvement plan.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to approve the targeted improvement plan for the junior high. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Consideration of possible action on order of election for the May 3rd, 2025 uniform election to fill 2 at-large positions on the Perryton ISD board.
Okay, each year we have to call an election for those positions that are up for re-election.
Is it 2?
This year is 2.
You and Sarah?
Yes, you, Mr. B, and you, Ms. Tregellis, are both. Your positions are up for election. And so this is the day we officially say that we're going to have an election to fill those 2 places. So I submit to you guys the order of election for your approval.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve the order of election.
Second.
Moving and seconded to approve the order of election as presented on May the 3rd, 2025. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. To go along with that, consideration of possible action on a resolution for joint election agreement between Perryton ISD and the city of Perryton.
We are required by law to do a joint election with the city because we both hold elections on the same day. So each year we create an agreement and do a joint election that both ourselves and the city of Perryton agree to. This is the standard election updated for election agreement updated for this year, and I bring it to you all for your approval.
It also saves a little money combined.
It does, yeah, and that's really why we're required to do it. Saves a little money and makes everybody do it on the same day.
Yeah. Okay.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve election agreement.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the joint election agreement between PISD and the city of Perryton. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. This one may take a few minutes longer. Consideration of possible action on the purchase of buses and district vehicles.
Okay, so we've been talking about this for a long time, but when you asked the community to vote for our voter approved tax rate election, part of that was so that we had some money to buy some buses. We're well aware of our aging bus fleet, and we are now beginning with the extra funding and with our diligence. We are now beginning the process of tackling that coming problem. We're going to try and keep it from becoming a problem. So I'm bringing you tonight a couple of recommendations. So in your packet, you're going to see a recommendation. The first one is a recommendation for what we would call a white activity bus. This is similar to a school bus, but it's not painted yellow. It can run at 75 miles an hour. It has some storage, not quite the amount of storage that would be on what we would call the Ranger buses, the flat nose or the
60 cubic feet bus.
Yes. So, but still a good set of buses for activity. The other behind it is a detailed quote for what we'd call one of our Ranger buses. That's more expensive. It has more storage. I really could ask Dent for all the reasons. It is more of what you would call an activity bus. So along with those needs or bus needs, on the last page is some prices that we've gotten for some cars for our district, and also another 14 passenger van. Our district has quite a few vehicle needs, or I would say there's several places that we need to address in our transportation and our vehicle needs. One is buses. Our Ranger buses, because they travel the most, they put a lot more miles on them, so we need to make sure that our Ranger buses, that we're staying up to date on our Ranger buses. So activity buses are important, but we also have to look at our route buses. Do you have some things to pass out? Yes. I'm going to have Dent pass out a summary to you, and I may give you a couple of minutes to look at it. What Dent is passing out, the front page, is kind of a current summary of prices for the different types of buses that we have looked at over the past. Dent and I have been working for 9 months getting prices on buses, everything from used buses to new buses to several companies he's looked at. So really quickly, just to kind of walk down this, a Ranger bus, like Ranger 2, 3, and 4 that we have, or 1, 2, and 3, that's about $270,000 to buy one of those. Vinyl seats, USB chargers, AC, it's wrapped. Those we can also get on a faster track. The Bluebird or the white passenger bus that I've been talking about, those are more like what a yellow bus is, but it's painted white. It can go 75, and it has some amenities for an activity bus. Below the line, there's the Bluebird yellow activity bus, which is similar to the white bus, but it's painted as a as a school bus, and it could be used for route buses as well. But it has the understorage, it has the overhead storage, it can have chargers in it, and it has some air conditioning. And then the last one on the list down there, the Bluebird Yellow, that's a regular route bus. One fortunate thing is that the buses, even the yellow regular buses, route buses these days are coming with air conditioning. So the buses that we're buying, all of our buses that we're buying these days will come with air conditioning. So that's an addition that will be nice. I'm gonna let you just kind of look at those and digest it, and then let me talk through what I'm recommending at the moment.
I included a lot of pictures.
Yes.
If you need any clarification, there's different upper storage options. Some of the buses have, I think they call them parcel racks, but it's the bars instead of the full shelf.
Yeah.
Basically. There's the USB charging ports, the one with the lights, and the charger port right next to it. Those are the ones on the Ranger. Charger port on one of the pictures. One thing, seat options. Basically, all buses now come with vinyl seats. After COVID, they realized how easier to clean they are. Do what?
How gross.
How gross seats are. These are easier to clean. There are some, you can upgrade seats. The Ranger buses that are on order, that are coming in to Bluebird right now, they all have vinyl seats. So if you want the cloth seats, you're looking at a year to 16 months out.
It's a special order.
Yeah.
Special order, basically.
Yeah.
And they're not comfortable. The cloth is to me, it's a rough fiber. They're not a cloth seat. Buses don't come with reclining cloth seats. So there's a couple pictures of the vinyl seats. If you do order the cloth seats, they are an addition, and it's just not that common on anymore. I also included just some general pictures of the different buses. The yellow bus with the storage underneath. There's a picture of the air conditioning system in the front. That's a flush mount air conditioning instead of the bolt one that comes on the side of the bus as a stock option. There's several different pictures and options there.
So
Yes.
none of these seats recline it? You can't get a reclining seat?
No, and those that we have,
Yeah.
I found out that in the past years, you order the bus with the seats in it,
Right.
and then the school purchases the reclining seats. So you're basically paying twice
Right.
for the seats.
So can you still get reclining seats to
I've
go
been
on bus?
asking for quite a while on a quote on seats, just because I knew that was going to come up. And it's just not.
Thank you.
It's not hardly an option.
And we come back so late. We need
Well,
to be able to
that's-
sleep
that's
on
my
the way
thing.
home.
If these seats don't recline and we've got kids, even in Canyon on a Tuesday night, and we expect them to go to school the next morning, gotta give them a chance to get a little bit of rest.
And you're talking some pretty hefty dollars, from what I understand.
I'm not surprised.
Oh yeah.
But
Plus, you have all the spare seats that you take out.
Right.
You have to have somebody install them. They don't
Yeah.
do that at the company. And I didn't learn that until recently when I sent the picture to get questions answered. The guy said, noticed all those little knots in the floor?
Mhm.
That's because they took out those seats and put in
Replaced them.
reclining.
So to get reclining
knew-
seats, you need like a Freightliner.
I knew that's
Really nice
what happened with
coaches.
our red bus. Because the first semester we drove it it has the old school bus
Yeah.
seats.
Yes.
So how many
All
good
the
Ranger buses do we have? 3?
Or,
Four.
so
Red,
let me
four
talk,
white ones.
let me kind of, I want to talk about my recommendation, but that'll give you a picture kind of where we're at. So we have 4 Ranger buses, and Dent, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. We have 4 Ranger buses, and we have 4 what we call yellow activity buses. Our proposal is, or my recommendation tonight is to go ahead and buy 1 of the Ranger buses. Right now we have 4, and that includes Ranger Red. So if we buy 1 of the Ranger buses, that's going to give us 5, including Ranger Red. And if we buy a white activity bus, that gives us another bus over here on what was considered more of a school bus activity. So at that point, I think the 4 of the regular Ranger buses that we have becomes what we would normally use for our out-of-town trips. The buses over on this side, we would take 1 of these yellow buses and move it down to a route bus. So that would give us 4. It would give us 4 of the regular Ranger buses, 4 of what is more like a yellow activity or white activity bus, and with Ranger Red being kind of in the middle there. We probably will move towards more of a policy of junior high taking the yellow or the regular school bus activity buses, with Ranger Red being a possibility too, as long as it's running well. So that will give us 4 good Rangers, 4 good activities. We're able to move 1 to a route bus, and Ranger Red kind of being in the middle, that can be an extra high school activity bus, or a bus that the junior high could take if it's available. I would also, along with this, ask you guys tonight to go ahead and commit to 2 other buses to be purchased at the beginning of our budget next year, using what is now our Vader money and budgeting that in. The reason is because anything below that line right there, has to be ordered like a year in advance or 9 months in advance. So for us to get a couple of extra buses to start the year with, we need to order those now. So you'd be committing next year's funds, but it's funds that we know we're going to need, that's going to be budgeted. I think
those 2 be?
Those 2 would probably be either this, and this is what I would leave up to you guys, either one of the yellow activity buses or 2 of the just common route buses. And those would become, and we would either replace the other 2 yellow activities and move those to route buses, or just go ahead and get 2 route buses. And that, I would leave that kind of up to you guys and what you thought on that. Have I missed anything, Dent?
No.
When you're talking Ranger buses, are you talking the style of the Denver City picture on page
Correct.
2, or the
Yes.
Frost picture on page 3?
The Frost bus, all of those that look like they're a Bluebird, all of those are considered the 40 passengers.
Those are the 40s. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Flat nose.
Okay.
The flat nose.
The 46 on the flat nose. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, when we talk Ranger buses, we're talking the flat nose 46.
So are we creating an inventory here? One of my concerns has been that we keep piling up dead dinosaurs. And my questions are going to be, are we satisfied with are we at a point where we're doing our maintenance right, where we don't have a lot of the stuff that's being broken down on the side of the road and we have to go haul kids around? That'd be my first question. The second one is, I mean, we've had dead buses sitting in the yard, and I mean, well, we don't need any more pileups just because it's nice to have 15 backup buses. Are we managing our bus?
Is there a plan for that extra yellow that we will roll out?
Once we have several route buses that are going to be needing to go. So if we are to get a new yellow, our old, let's call them.
So they will go, Dent? I mean, the idea is we're replacing them, not to pile them up.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We're out of real estate.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's something we probably need to look at and address. I mean, we may need to find a different place for our bus.
Well, and with that being said, I mean, we go and we purchase these new buses, we need to have some kind of cover for them. You know how we are in the Panhandle with hailstorms. We buy a brand new Ranger bus and darn thing gets held on. I mean, we got nowhere to put them, guys. I mean, there's nowhere.
Does
to
anybody
put
else
the
park them
buses.
under, like in Dallas, they're just out in lots. That's the only other parking lot I've seen. I don't know if
Borden
anybody has a
County had
shed.
sheds for every bus, but
Yeah,
They got a lot of
different
old money
places
down
do it different ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
For
Cash
sure.
money.
There's some that have them all
Yeah.
under some kind of storage.
And what about the vans? I see a bunch of requests here. I'm just flip
Yes.
back.
Okay, so
Cars, vans.
I would also,
Should
with
we-
with my recommendation, I would also ask you guys to set aside or authorize me to spend about not to exceed about $110,000. Or if you wanted me to break that up, it could be 70,000 for a 14 passenger van and 40,000 for an additional car. That is money I think that we originally, when I first talked to you guys about this, we talked about it coming out of fund balance, but Brittany and I have discussed this. She thinks there would be a good part of that could come out of just some money that we're not using this year, can come out of our surplus. But that will give us 2 additional buses. It will give us another 14 passenger van because that right now our current one is being fought over.
Does the purchase of a car relieve the request for the other additional van?
Instead of taking a
I mean, you got
yes,
a comment on here that said you got most of those requests for the van were for 2 passengers.
one person, we have a ton.
Why would we
Not
buy
the
this?
big, not the 14
No, the
passenger
14
van.
passenger van.
Okay, for the smaller.
For me,
okay.
Yes,
Minivan.
that's for teams and things like
That's
Or
that.
the mom wagons.
The 34 on the small vans. So out of those 34, a lot of them are just singles and doubles.
Most of them.
Yes.
18.
So we need something right up and down.
It's a
Where's
high
the,
percentage.
these are expeditions and a dually. Do we have numbers for a van for
Okay,
14?
those are for 14 passenger vans. The dually version
Mm-hmm.
is a high roof, 14 passenger van, but it's more stable with the dual rear wheels, and it also has storage behind the seat,
Okay.
behind the rear seat, where the ones that the 14 passenger that we have right now
Mm-hmm.
is seats.
Yeah.
There's no storage.
Yeah.
So that dually version would give us, it's basically the heavy duty,
Mm-hmm.
and it would give us a little bit of storage.
And a lot nicer driving in wind.
It would help.
Yeah.
Mhm. We'd be tackling or making a fairly good sized dent in some of our needs to do all
Yeah,
this.
we need.
Are you thinking just pay the buses off that we buy? Maybe?
Yes.
Check.
You know, we've talked about leasing, and I'm not opposed to that. Noon, I just don't know. That's kind of a tool I want to keep in my back pocket right now because I think we've got the cash right now where we could get the buses.
What I would suggest, and it's just something to think about, you know, we need the Ranger buses and we also need some of these smaller items. Even if there's no prepayment penalty, because I did have Dent check into it.
Mm-hmm.
If we put $100,000 down on each one of them, or put a substantial amount of money down on the buses and then pay them off next year, and then maybe go after some of the smaller stuff that we need, because there is a need based on what I'm seeing and what Dent is showing in numbers, you know, for vehicles and requests. You know, obviously if we could get another passenger van of some sort, get a car, possibly get an expedition, you know, get some of those smaller needs met as well for us immediately. Because I'm looking at where we're at now with these buses. If we'd have bought these a month ago, the prices have gone up
Yeah, they have.
on both of them. So we missed the window. They had them in stock last month, and we missed the window. We could have actually purchased them and had them here immediately. And now we're probably looking at a 6-month turnaround time for anything that we get bus-wise on these nicer buses for the passengers, for the activity buses. So anyway, that's just something I'm throwing out there. But
And if that freed up money to possibly find a place to or do something for storage for these, so they're not just out in the elements.
I don't know. I mean, I just know.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, we definitely need.
We need a tennis
definitely
court,
need
we need
an
a
upgrade in
lot.
transportation. And there's a big old gap we gotta fill, and I'm just trying to get the most bang for our buck. And like you said, we have the money, but we're gonna have that money now for several years going down the road. And so that transportation problem should be taken care of, but anyway. just
It's a
suggestion.
whether replace them all now or do them two at a time.
When a hailstorm comes through and take that half of our bus and fleet, then what do we do?
Call insurance.
Insurance. Yeah.
If they knock out the buses and the junior high, that is the least. It's gonna be a rough year if that happens.
I'm going to jump ahead with just a couple of questions that I had on page 163. It has the options that are available. But I think we're moving in the right direction here on what we need to take care of from a large purchase standpoint. But with the camera system, of course, I think that's somebody needs to be in there. I don't know what we were looking at, 3, 4, 5, 6 camera system or anything that
None of our activity buses have camera systems.
are they necessary?
I wish every bus we had.
Yeah, there's some
That's why
liability coverage.
If we're spending, I mean, total everything up here that we're looking at, we're looking at $500,000 of the Vader money, which is what we anticipated we were going to spend on transportation. $4,250 is
One thing that I can warn you about is that our current camera system will not run these camera systems. So if we were to put these cameras, we will have 2 camera systems.
awesome.
So can we order aftermarket for the current?
We can put all new cameras in everything for
To match.
probably, I'm gonna throw out a number, 150,000. Because I've already got the quotes.
So you cannot get some that add on to what we have.
Yeah, and that's the Wi-Fi system. I put a check mark by. I mean, that's necessary in 2025, so we can buy tickets to our ball games.
On the way.
And do their homework.
On the way.
Do their homework.
And do their homework. Number 2 is another one, that the driver overhead locking department. Here's my thought. If we have any guardians that are driving a school bus and they're on another campus, they have to have a place to be able to lock their firearm away. That's a place it can be.
That's true.
Yeah.
For $260.
Yeah.
For $260. That to me is a gimme on them. It's just in case, because
Wallets and.
any number of things go in there, but that was what popped into my head.
Mhm.
Is if you're a guardian and you're carrying, you can't step off that bus on another campus because we don't have reciprocation with those other campuses.
Quick kids, look the other way. That's what they're doing.
Going back to the camera system, on all these cameras, there's some great things to do with the new systems. They also come with yearly subscriptions. It's just
What's the
Wi-Fi too.
what's the hazard or the danger or the negative side, better term, of having 2 systems, having the new buses, having the new camera system, but still maintaining the old system on the old buses, that as we continue over the years to buy new, more on this one, less on that one. Is there a negative there?
Just keeping everything straight. It's just the new systems, like you pull into the bus yard and they download,
Automatic.
Things like that. There's nothing wrong with the new system at all. It's not compatible, I guess, with what we have. I don't even know that we would have to probably upgrade our computer. We would have to upgrade it's just another step.
So this doesn't include like the home base for the Angel Track surveillance system, right? This is just to put it in that bus. And then you gotta buy something that you keep at the bus barn.
That's just the camera install.
And then you have to have a set everywhere we park the bus barns in case we run out of room at the current one. But
I had a question mark by that. I just had check marks by number 2 and number 5. I figure we have our own radio system we put in, or
Same way, we'd have to have, it would be, we would have to have somebody, we'd purchase it and install it.
yeah, that's why I figured we probably had our own on there rather than $2,000 for their system.
No, that's probably
That's
all right.
is it? Wow.
Really?
I figured half that.
Me too.
I should get out more.
It's just like everything, it's going up. But the camera system, a lot of that, if you order the bus, if you, like, let's say our cameras, we went with whatever, XYZ, you tell them I want XYZ cameras.
Mhm.
And they build it with that camera system in it.
That would be compatible with
So
ours.
like ours, we don't have a camera system that would fit in there. So
Right.
we would go with a company and then we would have to purchase everything from that company.
Okay.
All of our activity buses right now do have Wi-Fi. That was part of the,
I think that's important.
I'm kind of torn on that one.
Really?
I don't know how much it gets used because everything's so blocked. They use their phones. If they want to use their laptops, their Chromebooks,
They just set a
They
hotspot
can-
to their phone.
they could do that, or they can log into the Wi-Fi and use that, but that's basically it.
Hmm.
They can't stream anything, you can't listen to music. So I don't know how much it is used.
It's for
Well, it was
homework.
for homework.
It's for homework,
But how-
and that's
how
what
much-
we
a lot of them,
bought it
yeah.
for.
How much do we pay for that?
Hotspot.
I don't have a clue what a yearly.
I haven't had it. It seemed
It wasn't-
reasonable when I.
It wasn't very much.
It wasn't
It's
much.
not much.
Because of E-rate, it's not,
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
it was very
it's not
cheap.
very
Yeah.
much.
So I just don't, in fact, I've been meaning to ask Ivan how, if we can track how much it's used.
It's like $8,000.
Less than
Am I making that up?
less than that.
That's less.
It was like,
Okay, sorry, I got us off track. I was
Okay.
thinking about a couple options here.
Cheap. Okay.
What thoughts do y'all have?
How much money do we have to spend? You know, because that, what's the budget? Do we have, I mean, one is 270 and two of these are almost half that.
we have about 270 from the Vader directly.
Correct. For this.
And then we had talked about additional money earlier in the year that we've kind of added on top of that for the other bus.
Okay.
The other, if we did the van or the 14-passenger van and the car purchase, that would be an additional 110,000. But we have savings and surplus for that.
Yes.
At least cover most of that.
So our Vader would basically just cover the Ranger.
Covers just one.
Yeah, directly.
Right.
Directly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and then as we look in the future, it won't just be the 270,000. We can add a little to that just to make sure we're covering buses every year. The Vader has helped us a lot, and it's kind of put us in place.
$560,000
Mhm.
right now.
Looks
roughly.
like, yeah.
Well, we need to get them on the way. They're bad, what we have.
Yeah, I'm firmly convinced that the longer we wait, the more expensive they're going to get, and the more buses we'll have broke down.
Yes.
Go to the
Just
grocery
because of
store today, or
the
what?
age of our fleet. So I don't have a lot. I hate spending money, but I don't have a lot of rocks to throw at your plan.
No, I don't either.
And
As hard as I try.
And I do keep leasing in my mind as an option for the future. I
Well,
really
and it
do.
may not even need to be a lease. It could just be a purchase, some sort. Just a straight buy.
Yeah.
But even if you do it on a 3-year term and no prepayment penalty, it frees up some cash on the front end of things to be able to buy some of the smaller things. That's just a suggestion. So, but if we have the money, and we can do everything, just buy it now
And move on to make
and then just move on. And then we'll have the money again next year to do some more.
do again.
Now, what do y'all think about, I mean, I don't have a problem with go ahead and ordering for next year too,
Yeah.
because when if we wait, we're gonna be in the same
Fix the
deal. in
buses.
It's just gonna go
16
up.
months.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Fix buses.
So your suggestion for next year was to do maybe an activity bus, but on the smaller side, the white or the yellow? you were
Yes,
saying,
either
possibly?
two whites or two of the yellow, or two of the yellow regular
For
route
next year.
buses. When we talked about this, did we settle on either the yellow activity or the regular route bus? Seems I remember when we talked about it first, we were talking about route buses, but then we threw in the possible of the yellow activities, because some of even our yellow activities right now are getting higher in mileage.
right.
So I do
Yeah,
have
they-
one question if we do that. On these, if we do like the Bluebird, obviously, it's the yellow activity bus, but say we do it in the white, it has 65 for a max miles per hour. That can be changed, can it not?
No.
Not if
Yellow-
it's
the
white-
yellow.
The white one, the white one to be able to, if we use that as an
75.
activity bus, you know,
That's
it's
the above one.
no, but I'm talking about the Bluebirds, it's
That's the route.
It's
It's two different
Because-
ones.
It's a route bus.
One can't,
One set up for a school bus,
and
Yeah.
one set up for
one set
route.
up for no. You have an activity bus and you have a route bus.
Route buses can't go higher.
They
It's a
can't go-
law.
If they're
can't.
painted yellow, they can't go
They
above
can't go-
65.
Yeah.
'Cause
Because
it's
it has
considered
it
a
listed
school
as an
bus.
activity, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just
Well,
calling
it has, it's
I'm
an
calling it
activity.
as an activity bus. That top one there has the storage underneath, the storage inside.
Yeah,
the
it has
USB
some of the-
chargers, the air conditioning, it's set up,
65.
but
It's more
once-
set up to go down the highway with, but it could
Well,
be used as a
it's
route
more
bus.
set up
when its
to
time is
store.
done- When its time is done as an activity bus, it would then go to a route
So
bus.
that's more of a long-term plan.
Whereas the white bus can't be a route bus.
Ever.
Because it's
white.
not yellow.
It's an activity bus. That's why it can go 75. It's set for highway.
So how big do we need the yellow buses then for at least this big, 71 passengers?
That's a standard size. You can get them 59 passenger, you can get them 77 passenger. It's about a seat, a row difference per bus. You can see there that I put the numbers, a 71 passenger bus, that's based on 3 kindergartners to a seat. So when I put.
Yeah, and that was tight.
Yeah,
According to
47,
my kindergartner.
you're looking at 45, 47 people.
Yeah.
On a bench seat. So these yellow buses have bench seats, so that if they are a route bus years down the road, they're just
So
I'd say, if we got enough yellow activity buses that can be moved down to route buses next year, then I'd like to see one of the orders for next year be one of the white ones, just so we can have more of our a nice set of bus fleet out roaming around, going places with nice
Sure, so maybe one white one and then one yellow
one yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for next year. But you do the activity or the other one, does it go straight to route? If you're just on a route.
He could move one of the old activities.
Well, I'm just saying,
Down to
if,
route.
Yes.
if there's enough yellow activities that would move down to route
I need a
buses
blow dryer.
for next year to get another plot,
Better way you
since
could
it
take
won't get
Two yellow activities, put them in route.
If we buy 2 buses and we move 2 yellow activity buses down to route buses and then get rid of 2 buses, we're gonna be pretty light. But that's where we were saying get 2 new yellow ones
next year.
for let's call it junior high fleet,
Yeah,
that in however many years could then go to route buses.
So you want to do that in the 25, 26 school year? 2 yellow ones, 25,
Next year.
26 school year?
Yeah.
Is the plan. Okay.
I'm
So we've just talked
I'm
enough.
afraid
like-
if we don't replace some of the yellow, that if we have an emergency
sure.
Mhm.
where we have a couple buses, like right now, we're using
Yeah.
two of our activity buses as route buses,
Mhm.
because the other ones are getting repaired. So if we run out
A
of
couple of trucks.
activity, then we're
Yeah.
sure.
So
you want to get 2 of the activity, 71 passes.
The yellow activity,
Yellow
yeah.
activity.
In
with the
25, 26.
Extra storage and all that.
is what you guys would suggest for next year.
That would be best case scenario. You can see that there's some differences. There's an upgrade to the engine. It has a different air conditioner, a roof mount air conditioner, flush mount air conditioner on the front, where it's not this big bulky air conditioner that you're smacking your head on when you stand up in the front seats. There's just some upgrades. The storage, if you're comparing a Ranger bus storage to one of these, it's different. But if you're throwing some water bottles, soccer balls, few shoulder pads, you're still going to have to put junior high. They're still going to have to put some in the bus. But if we could pick a bus to say this is going to be a travel bus, yeah, it'd be it'd be a nice bus. It'll go 65 mile an hour. But we just have to plan for that. But also our buses right now are yellow buses that go all over.
That's what we're currently using.
They're going 65 mile an hour.
Maybe.
Not
all of them do.
The wind
Yeah,
behind them.
when I was driving.
So what about, we talked about the reclining seats. When we do do them with these Bluebirds, if we plan on the Bluebird 40 passengers, and then when we finally catch up, we could order reclining seats and replace the seats and have like a 5-year, do that with that amount of money 1 year, depending on how much they are, because that is an academic concern that the athletes need to sleep so they can go to school the next day. But that part of a longer term, like get the buses functioning, and then since that reclining wasn't an option, but that is a valid concern for students and coaches.
And that also might be a deal where eventually maybe they'll give you a quote on what it would cost, and
For a
maybe
future
if we
one.
do buy one of the Ranger buses, we fit that in for next year and do one.
But it looks like we're going to try to get one this year, but instead of getting the nicer one, get the still really nice, and that's what Canyon uses.
Oh yeah.
Everything it's Canyon, but keep that in mind that we do need to replace those seats for those kids, because we're playing a little bit.
One thing to consider is the reclining seats are more susceptible to breaking. That's one thing we're having trouble with. And Ranger 1 is missing about, 4 or 5 seats. And you're looking at, we did get a quote on those, and just to replace those seats, $6,000.
And Ranger 1 is what model of bus? 2000.
It's a 13.
One is?
I think so. I think we have Ranger 1's a 13, and then we have
15 and 16.
15. I think they're both 15. Ranger 1 has less miles.
Yeah.
Than the other two, because it would only go 70.
Yeah.
So we have use less.
Never mind on this.
But we're talking about a 10-year-old bus that
Never
we're
mind.
replacing seats on. So.
Correct.
Correct. Teenagers.
And
And they've been, I don't know, they've been that way, I bet, 6 or 7 years. And I know there was one aisle that had no seats in it.
Right.
We retire one of those buses, we just take all the seats out and sell somebody just want to turn into a camper
Yes.
and put those seats in there.
And I wonder if there's a place that will take those seats and fix them. I know there's some accessory shops like FX out of Amarillo. They will customize seats for you and do things. I don't know that would save
Custom
some
is
money.
not cheap.
They might be able to take those seats and repair them and do it for half the price or something maybe.
Jeff's been in contact with the place in Lubbock
Okay.
that they're trying to get replacement parts for those seats.
For those seats.
Yes, sir.
I know FX does some because I know somebody that took some seats and had them reworked. So,
Okay.
Anyway,
Yes.
Never mind. Sorry for the tangent.
I don't know.
And the 40 passenger bus, depending on the seat configuration, I don't know that one would be able to, I don't know that we could put the reclining seats in there
Really?
because of just spacing. Now the Ranger, yes, but I'm not sure about the 40 passenger.
Okay. Well, scratch that.
And I can tell you that when Lubbock Cooper was here, who did we play football? Estacado?
Estacado.
I've stopped and looked at their 40 passenger buses and they're the vinyl. They're just the regular old seats.
No recline, just
No.
whatever came with it.
Yeah, they're just.
They were Bluebird.
They're what we call the white activity.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And the drivers that I talked to didn't have any complaints on them. You know, this is one of the new, this 40 passenger bus is kind of a new thing that's coming. It's a cheaper version. They sell more of this bus than they do the Rangers now. More schools are going with this just because of the cost saving.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we try one. You know, do we try one and then get another one next year, or do we wait 2 years, or that's up to y'all.
Yeah, you can always-
What's an $85,000 difference?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
I'm
You can
good.
buy.
I'm good with the 40 passenger.
Man.
I think we should get one of those as well. What I don't think we can get away from is the Ranger bus.
Mhm.
Because if you get away from a Ranger bus, football, baseball, softball may not be able to take one of those just because of the storage.
The storage and also the seating. Sometimes,
Yeah.
For instance, well, even junior high, you know, they take Ranger buses,
Right.
and they're packing.
Yeah.
Soccer tomorrow is going,
Yeah.
and they have every seat filled.
Yeah.
So
The seats are full, but people are starting to take Ryder vans to carry stuff. And with
but
this,
that's,
we can
but
try
that's
it for
another vehicle. That's
Another
another
driver.
driver. That's another.
driver. Yeah, we're in the boonies. It's not fair.
We're
We're camping in the middle.
We
A lot
do
of
travel
places that are
more than
using
other
like
districts.
Bluebird, it's the white,
Mhm.
are more of your Dallas, Fort Worth, you
Yeah.
know. It's,
Yeah.
I've had somebody tell me, oh, well, we use the yellow ones. And I'm like, yeah, but you go 20 minutes.
Right.
In
Mhm.
30 minutes. Our kids are on the road for hours.
Four,
Like a
5
5
and a half
days.
hours.
One
Days.
way.
5-hour district ball game.
yeah.
So it's different. We need these.
That's
Yep.
true.
But I got to throw this out there. On the flip side, at Sulphur Springs Soccer Tournament, Progresso, you know what Progresso is?
Yep.
They showed up to Sulphur Springs in the Yellow Dog.
I've seen
And it's
El
like
Paso. I've
12
seen El
hours.
Paso schools do that
Hmm.
too.
And they showed up.
Show up in Lubbock
Ooh.
at regional track, and they're in a yellow bus.
We're fine. Everything's fine.
But the 40 passenger, that is basically my only concern, is that from a Ranger to a 40 passenger, we're losing 6 seats. We're losing
Yeah.
6 passengers.
And some storage.
But we also have to plan for that.
Yeah.
If you have 43 people, you're not taking the 40 passenger.
Yeah.
You're taking a Ranger that has all the seats in it.
And what was your plan on the white one, Craig? You guys were thinking to implement that on?
this year.
No, but for the course and how they'd be used.
Junior high,
The white
junior
one,
high,
the white one
yeah.
would be in the junior high fleet.
Okay.
Now, you know, if we had to have one, it'd probably be the first one out of the junior high fleet that goes to the high school if we needed an extra bus, because that'll go 75. But that'll give us, in the end, we would have 4 solid Ranger buses. We would have 4 solid junior high buses, and we'd have Ranger Red just kind of sitting there in the middle that could go either way.
I'll ask you both to be Nostradamus here. How many more trips does Ranger Red have in it? 10 years? 20?
It's possible.
35 years?
She's gonna go.
When it's running, it's the best running bus we got.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot, I used to drive it 15 years ago.
Transmission's cheaper than a new bus.
Yeah. And I
Send
just
that
have to
down
throw
to
this out
Huntsville and
there.
get it reworked and get it
20
back.
miles an
Y'all
hour.
have said, you know, we're
It's
looking
stock.
at having
Don't worry.
3 Ranger buses plus a new one. Y'all, we're still going to have issues with those Ranger buses. Just like this one that went down in Shamrock.
Mhm.
It's 2 sensors that when it's their time, it's their time. We can't predict that.
Yeah.
Ranger 3 right now is down because of an exhaust filter. Can't
Ooh.
predict that. We don't know it till it shuts down. Those things are still going to happen.
They're going to happen on the new one.
They are. So
Bless
it's,
you.
you know, when they service them, when they fuel them, they're checking everything.
Yeah.
They're checking belts and they're checking pulleys, and things happen.
We're past the point though of driving them until the fuel filter's clogged, and then we replace them. I know
Yes.
we're past that point, and that's a good
Yeah, we
thing.
haven't had any issues
That's a good thing.
in a long
Because
time.
that's the way
And you
it
guys
used to be
asked about
done.
maintenance. We're tracking.
We just drive them, and then when we're
Yeah,
stranded,
yeah.
oh, that's a fuel filter.
We're
It should have
tracking
been
when it
changed.
gets changed,
30,000
what
miles.
mileage, when the next one is.
So, but we're past that. I do know that.
Exhaust filter. We have to do that on track.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, just because of who's down there, we're we're past that. I feel like, so.
Well, and by upgrading, we're gonna hopefully start eliminating those breakdowns a little more, you know.
In
Won't
theory.
have as many, I hope.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and if we're using more of our yellow fleet for junior high, and they're not
They're
taking,
simpler.
if they're not taking Rangers, I mean, y'all, we have Ranger buses going every day. And it would just, they're still gonna go, but it would be able to give them a little break and put some miles on them.
Okay,
Okay, where we at here?
do what Greg said. What are we talking circles right now?
Is that a motion?
If we, if we did, just quick question to Mrs. Mraz, if we bought 2 of the yellow activity buses instead of the 2 route buses for next year, that's 330, about 335 roughly,
Okay.
335,000. Is that, are you comfortable with that in next year's budget?
In
To be
next
allotted towards
year's?
buses?
Oh, yes. Well,
Okay.
we have to put something towards buses every year.
Okay.
And can I say, if we do that, we wouldn't be able to purchase a Ranger bus next year. We would be purchasing
These
2
two.
yellow buses.
Yes.
Because that would help our route
Yes.
buses too. We have, right
The
now,
following year,
for
we
the
might
moment,
look at another Ranger.
everything's,
And 6, 7.
we have a couple buses that are having some issues, but we know what they are. They're in the process of getting fixed. But we have some that has some kind of unknown issues that could be some big ticket expenses that may not be worth fixing. So you take a bus with 230,000 miles and it needs a $10,000 turbo. It may not be worth. So that's why keeping these yellow buses coming in as well, we can replace them and not have them sitting around and auction those other ones off.
Well, I've even noticed that the Booker, I think third time I've noticed they've sold anything extra they've got on Facebook, and it seems to sell pretty good, and it gets gone.
well, and maybe here in the next year or 2, we'll find a school district that's getting rid of some buses that
Get
are,
overbought or something.
yeah, and they're, you know, maybe slightly used, but they're exactly what we need, whether it be route buses or activity buses.
On that package, you'll see New Deal buses. That middle bus is a used bus. They had ordered 2 new ones, and when that one came in, the guy just happened to be at the right place at the right time and in communication, and they were able to steal that bus that was brand new. Used buses are
High, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
nice ones are gone because of this reason.
Because everything's expensive.
Okay, one more question.
Yes.
Could we go up to, in next year's budget, up to 350 rather than 335, about 350?
Another car.
No, I'm just kind of thinking about our fleet, and I might be calling a little bit of an audible here.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can definitely
Another
work on
20,
it.
another 20,000. And I know it is 20,000.
Okay.
So maybe next year instead of, because I was thinking along the lines of what we're talking about with the white activities. Maybe instead of next year ordering 2 yellow activities, 1 yellow activity and 1 white, and that would give us 4 Rangers, 2 white activities that'll run 75, 2 yellow activities that could be route buses, and also moving one of our yellow activities now down to a route bus. So that would, and plus Ranger Red in there. So that would give us 8 buses. All right, counting right now, 7 buses that could go 75 and would be good activity buses. You guys like that plan?
If the seats don't recline, you better be going 75.
That's what I was asking.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get more of those buses out there on the road that say Parents and Rangers on them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, and again, included in that is for this year, some authorization for us to do some shopping around and get another used 14-passenger van and a small car that we can go back and forth between Amarillo and here. We do have a car that is now back in service.
She's not going to.
No, she's not going to Amarillo anymore, so that car is being used. So it'll give us 2 cars. With the purchase of a car this year, that'll give us 2 cars that can go back and forth between Amarillo, and that'll take care of a lot of miles on the smaller trips, better on gas mileage, and then we can also do some reassigning of our vans to doing some local stuff. Some of our departments can use the vans.
If we were able to get a 14 passenger, we could probably get rid of one of what we call the large vans, and then also get a car. We would need it to do something with one of the minivans.
Yeah.
And there's some that have miles.
We can reassign it to
list.
They're over 200,000. Yeah. But they would do.
Just make sure it's comfortable for taller dudes.
Mm-hmm. I'll make
Taller
sure.
guys
I'll make sure it's going to be comfortable for tall people.
That didn't fit in it.
If I've taken my notes correctly here, what we're looking at for 24-25 is the purchase of one 46-passenger Ranger bus, one Bluebird 40-passenger white bus, and allotting approximately $110,000 for used van and car.
And a car.
For 25-26, looking at one white Bluebird 40-passenger, and for 26 also one Bluebird yellow Activity 71-passenger, the top one that has the 240 horsepower, yada yada, fancy air conditioner, better than the skirt-mounted air conditioner. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
And just as a thought on the 14 passengers, the used ones that I've been finding aren't very much. They're not much cheaper than
There's not much of a deal.
Yeah.
no. So I when you said used,
Just because Greg had used the word used on that.
if we can find
I-
a new one
A new one
New or used.
for
Best value.
the same.
for the same price. Yes.
Range.
Authority to buy either, but search for best value.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
And I included pictures in there because we're gonna have, if we order these buses, we're gonna have to give them instructions on how we want them to look. Ranger bus, will it be, and I don't know if we have to make this decision now, but I'm going to cross that bridge.
Well, no, that's okay. Say what you need to say. We don't have to make it now, I don't think.
Whenever they start designing, do we want the bus to look like our other Rangers where it's uniform?
Or do we wanna go
it
somewhere new?
If we go fancy, well, is it one of those deals where, well, we want the fancy bus, we don't want the other one. We want the one that looks nice. And then there's one of those buses with the big, the white activity bus. With the, I want to say it's a big P on the side. But I can see, or no, it's a Texas Seymour, it's with a big S. You know, something like that with a big Ranger on the side with some simple stripes. But we're gonna have to give these ideas to them that they can design something.
If we had something like that with the big Texas on the side, there's got to be a star at the top of the panhandle, so all the other people can say,
Where
"You
you
came from how far?"
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
We are here.
I'm picturing just a big Ranger on the side, but at some point we will have to, I don't know if they send us ideas.
So the new deal ones look nice without being real complicated. But it is a price.
But they're all, on theirs, they're all matching.
Yeah. It's like if we want to go with a new design, we need to decide if we're moving to that with the new fleet. Basically, that we're slowly going to do over the next 5 years.
Personally, I like consistency, but we don't have to cross that bridge today.
Yes.
So,
You want all that in one motion?
be easy in one.
Do this.
I'll move that we give superintendent
Authorization.
authorization to purchase In the 24-25 school year, the 46 passenger Ranger bus and the flight 40 passenger bus. Following school year, plus $110,000 for the best value vehicles. And then next school year, a 40 passenger white bus and a 71 passenger Bluebird with the 240 horsepower engine.
Is there a second?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded to do what Jed just said.
So moved.
Any additional discussion? Now's your chance. Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Get it done.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
We're gonna take a good
Are we
stab
gonna
at
adjourn
it.
now? Oh, we got one more item on the agenda. All right, one more item.
We're done.
Consideration of possible action on superintendent's contract.
Or we just think.
Yeah, that's right. You guys want to read?
Can we just
Is there a motion that would like to be made considering the superintendent's contract?
Do we have any money to pay him after buying?
That's what I was like,
I was
did we
gonna
just
say, I
spend it?
think-
I think we spent it.
I think next year's salary is going into one of those buses.
Spend his raise.
He's gonna volunteer his time next year, so we can get another bus.
Did you want the extension in the discussion regarding the raise itself?
Salary and extension can be in the same motion.
I would make a motion to extend our current superintendent for another year and with a 5% pay increase.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to extend Superintendent Brown's contract by 1 year with a 5% pay increase. Richard, increase effective.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?
This year.
One makes more sense
Effective
now.
now.
Yeah,
Now.
then effective immediately.
And there, Bryce, you seconded that?
I
you?
did.
Okay. So moved and seconded to extend the superintendent's contract by 1 year with a 5% pay increase effective immediately. Any additional discussion?
I'm wondering if the superintendent would extend it for like a 3-year extension.
You want to propose it? I think you're actually limited to 5 by law.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, everybody.
Now-
It's a pleasure to work with you all and with our community of kids and staff.
For those that are curious, the score is
Hush,
I'm not
hush,
this.
I'm not
Hush,
curious
hush,
at all.
hush.
It's a lot to not very much in a
Oh.
championship game right now. Poor Notre Dame scored first and hadn't scored since.
31-15.
15? Oh, I just got 31-7. Okay, must have gone for 2.
No school 2 Mondays in a row.
See if I do a better job of
15.
picking a date for next month. What do y'all think?
Valentine's Day.
Perfect.
Spend it with my favorite guy.
That's the
Like, there's so much things I
last
can
day
say
to
this.
apply for a position on the ballot.
Who's on that list?
Our normal third Monday would be the 17th.
17th.
What do we have?
There's no school that day either.
On 17th?
President's Day.
President's Day.
Ah,
I'm actually,
10th and the 17th.
I'm actually out of town that day.
And I'm out of town the 24th.
Planning on it?
And the
17th doesn't
Amarillo,
work very well.
the quintet is coming on the 18th.
You're out of town that whole week?
I'm out of town, I come back Wednesday. I'm going to be going down to Austin to talk to our legislators
Oh, yeah.
those 2 days.
when we go the next Monday?
Can, I think,
I'm gone that day. Out of town that week.
24th.
But I trust you.
I mean, it's hard to pick a middle of the week
Mm-hmm.
The
day in the wintertime.
I go to Thursday, the 20th, but that's a chamber banquet.
That would create ill will.
18th, we've
Anything on
got,
the school calendar on the 24th?
I think I'm the
No.
only problem, and that's fine.
no, 24th is clear.
2/24.
Okay.
Y'all had fun.
We will. We're going to get cooked for.
Mm-hmm. Make sure you get Mandy that day, 24th.
Okay. Thank you all. Lots of discussion, lots of
Good work tonight, you guys.
decisions to make to keep pushing the district forward. There's sometimes it's got to bite the bullet and make it happen. We've fallen behind over the past on our transportation department, and I think this is something that's really going to help us with what we talked about tonight. So, thank you all. Meeting adjourned.